Africa. Let's talk about a headline that sounds technical until you realize it's a declaration of independence. Three Sahel countries, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, just launched a regional bank capitalized at nearly $900 million. Not a donor program or a capacity building initiative, a bank. Built by states that were told they were too unstable to govern. At a moment when the world expected them to wait quietly, they didn't ask permission. They built a bank. And remember, this channel exists for Africa First stories the Western media often ignores. So we don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth behind them. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why the Sahel Bank matters more than just money alone.
Finance and economy ministers from Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger met in Niamey this week to forge a way forward for the new Alliance of Sahel States. The new investment bank aims to provide funding to aid development, but to also bring peace to a much troubled region.
Today, our ministers in charge of the economy and finance must make strategic decisions aimed at accelerating the operationalization of the Confederation Bank for Investment and Development. This institution is essential for injecting new momentum into the financing and development of our states. This bank must help us establish lasting peace throughout our region.
The Confederation Bank for Investment and Development will have capital of almost $900 million. It will be loaned out to finance mainly structural projects. The Malian Minister of Finance says it's their latest move towards more integration and independence.
Our three countries, Burkina Faso, the Republic of Mali, and the Republic of Niger, have decided to join forces to build a solid economic and financial integration framework capable of responding to the structural challenges and development needs of our populations. It is in this context that the Confederation Bank of Investment and Development is being operationalized. This is a strategic project that is of paramount importance to us, among other things, to finance our sovereign priorities, particularly in the infrastructure, energy, agriculture, and industrial processing sectors, to reduce our dependence on conditional external financing and to strengthen our economic and financial autonomy. Finally, it will mobilize local savings to finance our structural investments in the service of our economies.
The three ministers requested that the funds be released as soon as possible.
The ministers also reviewed the socio-economic situation within the Confederation and recommended accelerating the process of operationalizing the Confederation Bank for Investment and Development of the AES. They agreed to release the bank's capital within the required time frame.
All right, so Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have officially launched a regional investment bank capitalized at 500 billion CFA francs, roughly 895 million US dollars. So the mandate is directed to finance infrastructure, energy, and agriculture across the Sahel region without relying primarily on external donors. Each country is committed domestic public revenues to anchor the institution, creating a locally backed finance base and not a pledge-dependent shell. So this matters because these three countries exited ECOWAS. They face diplomatic and economic pressure and sit on strategic resources. So gold, Mali and Burkina Faso, and uranium, Niger. So experts say this is risky. Yes, because waiting forever was the safe option, right? So three fragile governments staging a symbolic announcement is what most people think this headline means. But in truth, the real subject here is capitalized finance, not aspirational aid. The bank is already capitalized, already operational, designed to fund regional priorities first. Finance ministers confirmed it is meant to stabilize developmental financing amid global tightening, right? So this matters for African power because who controls the finance decides what gets built, who gets credit, whose timelines matter, right? So without these institutions, development becomes permission seeking, right? So When Africa funds itself, it's called dangerous, but when Africa borrows forever, it's called responsible. So we had to get out of that trap, right? The Regional Investment Bank allows the Sahel to reduce dependence on external conditional lending, prioritize cross-border infrastructure for the region, and lower long-term borrowing costs that are often crowded in these debt obligations. So also they can crowd in private capital on its own terms, right? So in a previous Africa Power report, we explained why aid alone cannot industrialize the continent. So this bank reflects that shift. It's a model from aid logic to institutional logic, right? So the social impact here is that there's going to be infrastructure financing that upgrades that create jobs for young people, power for clinics and schools, irrigation and storage for farmers, reduce vulnerability to climate shock. So this isn't rebellion, it's institutional maturity, right? So what's coming next is a new test, right? The bank's success depends on governance, transparency and oversight, discipline, funding productivity, not patronage, right? So the scale, attracting co-financing without surrendering control. And if this is done correctly, this becomes a template for regional finance and a bargaining tool for global negotiations, and a quiet reduction in IMF dependency. So the Sahel didn't say, leave us alone. They said, watch what we build. So once financing is controlled, the next battlefield is trade routes and currencies. So I know you've heard the whisperings of a new currency emerging in the Sahel region as well. So inshallah, we'll be seeing a new episode about this very soon. So one truth stands out here is the Sahel didn't build this bank to impress the world. It built it to stop waiting on the world and to stop being dependent and more sovereign, relying on self-funding. So, mashallah, that's your African Insight for today. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because I'm Mr. Empower TV. We don't chase the headlines, we chase the truth behind them. This is Mr. Empower, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.